Hello and welcome to Church at Home, version 23rd week in Ordinary Time or Sunday of Ordinary Time. Father Ed,
Father Joshua,
Father Michael.
We're happy to be here, and we are attempting not to get too attached to our thoughts because that's part of the theme that we're reading in the scriptures. Maybe Father Mike, you want to throw us off that?
Sure. So at the near the end of the gospel, Jesus talks about not being attached to your possessions. The exact words don't come to me, but basically says, anyone who can't give everything away and follow me is not fit to be my disciple. And yes,
pretty
obviously
close.
there are pretty good,
Yeah, you did
pretty close. There are radical calls to poverty in the church, absolutely. But that is not everybody's call, especially if you're called to family life. But what I think is common among whether you're a Cistercian monk or a married family or a priest or a sister, whatever your walk in life is, the part about dispossessing, word Father Ed was using as we were playing, like dispossessing, of dispossessing yourself of things is to make room in your heart for God, to not be attached to, to not have these emotional attachments to passions, desires, all these things that might be bad or good or neutral, but should not come between us and God, should not come before God. So it's a matter of emptying our hearts to make room for God so that He has a place to come and dwell in our lives.
There's kind of a good image that I've seen before where someone took a glass of water and so it's all the way filled to the brim, and then you can't fit anything else in there, but then they took golden, like olive oil, golden, beautiful olive oil, and they poured it in, and the olive oil, then there's like, you can't fit the olive oil in there, right? Because oil floats on the top of the water. And if you start with the olive oil and then you start trying to pour in water, it displaces the olive oil because it's heavier. So you want to start with an empty vessel and only pour in what is really worth it, the golden oil, right? So only allow the Holy Spirit really to fill you up, God to dwell in your heart.
Right. I'm thinking too, in our psychological age, that some people say, "Well, I don't have anything. I don't even have any people," or something like that. So that they feel very maybe detached is another word from the tradition that the church mothers and fathers have handed on to us. But I'm thinking of the expression, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And I think in this day and age, our plans, like what I need to be fulfilled or need to be successful in my life, even if it's a heroic thing, that can be displacing of God's will for us and God's plans. So this idea,
you're right. We get very attached to our way of doing things or the plan I have for my day or whatever.
Right. Yeah. And I know this is troubling for teenagers because they generally have an idea of what they want to do and even what they want to be. But it is also equally troubling for parents because they have a plan and a thing for their kid, and those two things don't jive and they don't fit together. So we have to make room for God in this case, as my brothers were saying here. So we thought that this also, once we talked about, so am I occupied and is my heart filled with maybe my plans, my possessions, my career, my reputation, I don't know what else, my great intellect, I don't know.
Yeah, beliefs about ourselves, good or bad, all these different things.
Right. So we can maybe understand that I need to be less possessive of my life and see that maybe my life is really not mine. My life is God's, and that so that would be a big step in moving from possessiveness. But we also said the gospel starts out with a rather disturbing injunction by Jesus says that we have to hate our mother and father.
Mhm.
And if we don't, we are not worthy of him. And so that was a problem, but we said that, well, maybe.
Yeah, so this if we look at it from the back end first and then move to the front, it's this it softens it a little bit because God, Jesus, is not trying to really say to us, um, hate, as in be, angry or aggressive against. He's not using it in that way, but he is saying you have to put God first, and then these other relationships in your life can be ordered the right way. If you put any other person in front of your relationship with God, then it's like filling that glass with water instead of oil, and so there's no room. It's like the container's already full, so you got to put God in there first, and then you can add in the other stuff, the other relationships.
Right. Yeah, so they're all related uh, to the relationship or relationship itself, which is God.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how could we be less um, clinging? So we might want to see maybe a petrified heart. I sometimes use that with, so that in a sense it's hard-heartedness. I am clinging so tightly to everything in my life that I can't, I don't have any room to pick up, what God is offering me. Um, and some of us have rigor mortis of our hearts.
Mm-hmm.
That's the stiffening and the hardening of our muscles. Um, so uh, this practice of picking up the cross uh, intentionally, as we were saying, intentionally giving up,
Yeah, I mean, I think
sacrifice.
I mean, obviously, for those of us who are not Cistercians, like Father Michael said, we have things that we need to own or use or whatever, uh, and we have to have a plan for our day. We have to keep appointments, things like that. And so I think what Father is trying to say with this hard heart, the way that you open it up or allow it to be fleshy again, right? Is that you have to hold it like a bird, like you're not squeezing it so tightly. Those things are held loosely so that they can change or grow
Flourish,
or
yeah.
be given back to the Lord.
Right. So the intentional practice of penance. That's why. So then, why should you fast, pray, and give alms? Well, it's not, so you become a professional prayer and faster and almsgiver. It's not so you lose weight. It's not so you reduce your blood pressure. All those things are maybe would be good byproducts, but it is that
Makes room in your heart.
makes room in your heart, and it trains your heart
Yeah.
to uh, do that all the time and do it more easily and more graciously. So, um, so we're happy to kind of put this down because we don't want to be possessive of it. And maybe you can pick it up and see what you think about it. All right.
God bless y'all.
Yeah, we'll see you in church.